Welcome to Young Score Podcast, episode 17. Different feel for this podcast. I'm actually watching NBA Countdown for the Lakers Pelicans right now and talking. First time you get to physically see me while I'm doing my podcast, so it'll be up on YouTube as well as all the other platforms. Thank you to those who've been following. I thought it was time to turn it up a notch. The feedback has been fantastic. All right, so first, today's headlines, we have Zion for Rookie of the Year. Is it possible? Still, with only about 20 games or so left. We have Milwaukee. Are they the championship favorites right now? James Harden versus Giannis. So if we're talking Milwaukee, both of them talking a little bit about each other's games this week. And the NBA buyout, and it's affecting the NBA. How is that playing out? And clearly, I have my updated NBA power rankings, my chance to talk about the NBA's best teams. So looking forward to it. So let's start off with first the Lakers versus Pelicans matchup. Was definitely a great game that we'll always remember. We'll look back and say that was the first time we got to see Zion against LeBron, and they compare a lot as players, athletically, physically gifted, both players, explosive players. And that, I think LeBron's trying to prove a point after that game, having his best game of the season, 40 points, and really coming out and claiming that he's still, hopefully, the king of the league. And Zion, still with 29 points, is just continuing to prove to us he's a great talent and has a great future in the NBA. But can Zion still win the Rookie of the Year? That is the question. Not too many games left to prove, and Ja Morant has already made a great a great push for winning the Rookie of the Year. And then, I think Memphis is in the lead for the eighth seed right now, and we have to see and then they're showing him on TV right now, can Zion, put up enough stats or continue what he's doing so far. It's just been unbelievable to start his rookie career, but it's only been 11 or 12 games or so has a big game against the Lakers tonight, another chance to prove himself. But I very well think he can definitely win Rookie of the Year still. I think the big kicker is if they come back and his team, the Pelicans, can push Memphis out of the 8th seed, because they're only 2.5 games back right now, and they can actually get into the playoffs, and he can continue to do what he's doing, and he's one of the main reasons, along with the player Brandon Ingram. I think he can definitely win the Rookie of the Year still. Would it be fair? I'm not sure, but in the small sample size that we've seen of him this season, he has over-exceeded expectations thus far. We rarely see a rookie averaging 20-plus points and doing the things that he's doing. He's super efficient, and I think, after seeing it at Duke, everybody questions, can he do it in the NBA as well? And he's been able to do it. So, next topic, we had in an interview with Rachel Nichols, James Harden had some things to say about Giannis, and it went along these lines. I said, I wish I could be 7 feet, run, and just dunk. That takes no skill at all, and I think that's very comical of him to come out and say that. But I think, he has, I think both players have a point in what they were saying. I think we'd all love to be 7 feet tall and just be able to run and dunk as an NBA or just a basketball player in general. I mean, to have the size, skill, and athleticism, what else can you ask for? But, Giannis said back, my game is not just power for sure. I came in when I was 18 and I was just 180 pounds, so power through big guys was kind of tough. So he's a player that definitely worked on his game, and I think James Harden has a valid point because, he's doing that with less. He's putting up close to the same numbers, not in rebounding, but definitely outscoring Giannis at 35 a game. He's got 35, 6, and 7. And Giannis right now is at 30, 14, and 6. So it's like, why aren't we talking so much about James Harden? I think that's his point. Why aren't we talking about him more to be an MVP favorite? And it really comes down to, I think, his team isn't really one of the front runners to have the best record in the league. And that's what Milwaukee is doing right now. And we look at James Harden, he still has the help of Westbrook, even though it's been inconsistent this year. But Giannis is really, he's got a great team, but his numbers are kind of ridiculous. He's rebounding the ball at a high level. He's an efficient player. He's more efficient than James Harden, and he's just, after coming off last year and getting that MVP, he's definitely the favorite thus far to get the MVP once again. But I see what James Harden is trying to do there, kind of sneaky. Next, I kind of look at the NBA buyout market and how it's drastically changing the league each year. I think Andre Iguodala is the big player this year that we kind of waited to see what was going to happen with him, and now he's in Miami. But every year we see players getting bought out, and I think it's a conversation the NBA needs to start to have because of the fact that these players that are getting bought out aren't going to teams in real need. They're going to playoff contenders and let's be more specific, they're going to warm weather cities as well. So I think it's a little unfair to the teams that aren't competing for a championship, and also it's unfair to these cities that are less desirable. You rarely see a player get bought out and go to a team that's at the bottom of the standings and in some cold weather. Every player wants to get bought out, and it's great for the veteran players that can help championship contenders. And this year we saw a few guys get bounced around, but I think the league needs to take a good look and stance on how they can make this more efficient for the NBA, because at the end of the year, a team can add a player that can really put them over the hump just by a team buying them out. So it's a very interesting topic. All right, so I'm going to finish up with my power rankings for this past week and the season thus far. At 10, I have Philly, 37 and 24. Just taking a check over here, hanging on to life with the injuries they've had. Ben Simmons out, Joel Embiid out, and that's why they got a guy like Tobias Harris. I was actually watching the Philly game earlier where they lost to the Clippers, and Shake Milton had 39 points. He stepped up, but they still took the loss. I just look at Philly and I just say we can only judge this team when they get to the playoffs, and I really feel for their coach Brett Brown, because he's going to be under a lot of scrutiny if this team doesn't get deep into the playoffs, at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't see this team able to get over that hump this year, and we continue to wonder about this process and when it's going to turn over, because Joel Embiid claims that he's the best big man in the league, which that's very debatable. But the league is talking about how Ben Simmons and him don't work because of spacing. At 9, I have Utah. I see Utah, I actually watched them. It's a team that really defers. A lot of players don't feel comfortable taking, consistently getting up a lot of shots. They're a very unselfish team, but it's a team that is really depending on Donovan Mitchell to do the amazing or the incredible every night. And they have guys that can score, but Mike Conley's having one of the worst seasons of his career, and they really need him to come up big down the stretch to have a chance to even get out of the first round of the playoffs, in the loaded West. Rudy Gobert having a good season, all-star season, also another possible Defensive Player of the Year season, but they're going to need more of that and more than that to get over the hump this year in the West, which is loaded. At 8, I have Miami, 38 and 22, veteran leadership. They have Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, and they got Andre Iguodala, which was a big pickup, as well as Jay Crowder. People aren't talking about. That's another big pickup. And in the East, I think it's 3 teams that we're looking at to really contend against Milwaukee, who we expect to get in the Eastern Conference Finals. I feel like if you're not in that 2 to 5 range, if you're not in that second and third seed, and you have to play Milwaukee in the second round, it's going to be tough sledding for those fourth and fifth seeds. So I think for Miami, they've got to really try to stay around the second or third seed to get accomplish what they want to this season. after buying out those players and making the big trade as well. 7, we have Houston, 39-20 right now. League's most unpredictable team, I would say. I was really on the fence about getting rid of Clint Capella, who one of the league's best rebounders, really a great hustle player, defensive player, rim protector, and they traded him. Even though he's been injured since the trade, we really can't evaluate how he's been doing on Atlanta yet. I think when it comes to the playoffs, that's when teams really need to consider, crashing the glass, getting offensive rebounds. But thus far, since they got the trade, 6 straight wins. Russell Westbrook has been playing much better since the All-Star break. And James Harden's been, still around 34, 35 points a game. It's a dangerous team. And if you see them in the playoffs, who knows what can happen. But thus far, Houston has been a little up and down, a shaky road this season. But you look at the players they got, Jeff Green, Covington, they could possibly help them because other players that can come in and shoot the 3 and play defense. And, I think they will take 3s over a team utilizing Denver and throwing it inside and trying to take the mismatch. They like that because then they take it out the basket or they get the rebound, they go down the court, they take a 3. So it's a very interesting strategy, and this 3 and D or this get up tons of 3s is really going to be tested this playoffs because we don't see Westbrook hitting tons of 3s, but he's still a factor in their offense and really in their championship run. But when you look at the other teams in the West, Houston is a team that can beat a lot of those teams. I think a second round matchup with the Lakers would be highly entertaining because the Lakers are going to try to physically, punish them inside. But when you're just going inside to try to take that advantage, which they probably will score a lot. When you're not scoring and Houston is coming down hitting 3s, they can win a few games. A series, I'm not sure yet, but they can definitely beat a lot of teams in the West. At number 6, I have Denver, the team that's battling for the 2 seed with Houston and the Clippers. I'm very interested to see Denver really just in the playoffs. If they can somehow, they're 5.5 games back to the 1 seed, so I don't know how that's going to fare with 20 games left. The Lakers are really making a push for that 1 seed this year, which is going to be huge for LeBron and AD getting a team in a matchup they feel comfortable with. I think when you look at the West and you don't get the 1 seed, you're getting a team that's just in a stacked West and could be a tougher first round matchup. Do I think a team at the 7 or 6 seed is going to win a first round playoff series? No, I don't believe so. But they can push you. Hopefully injuries come into play. So very interested to see how that plays out for Denver as well. Great young team I've been talking about all season. 5, Boston. The whole league's been talking about Jason Tatum since the All-Star break, putting up ridiculous numbers, gifted scorer. You watch him play, definitely a player that studies defenders, knows how to get the spots, very comfortable shooting the 3 this year. Kemba getting hurt actually seems like it's been good for him because he's taking a leadership role. Boston's been playing at a high level. Actually was watching the game against Houston that they lost. Big shot by Jaylen Brown to go into overtime where they eventually lost. But when I watch Boston, they played the Lakers and lost to. This is a team that they can definitely compete with Milwaukee. They can definitely compete with the other teams in the East. And when Kemba comes back, I feel like they're going to be an even better team. So I wouldn't be surprised if Boston makes a run. And they've had a great season too, sitting right now at 41-18. I really like Boston, and I really like their future as well, and what Danny Ainge continues to do there with that team and how they play. At 4, I have Toronto. It's really close between Toronto and Boston this year. Whatever team gets the 2 seeds in a better predicament. When you look at the East, it's the Nets at 7 right now, and Orlando at 8. And I feel like those teams are either one is going to finish in 8th, one's going to finish in 7th, but both of those teams are pretty much going to make the playoffs as it looks right now. And either team, it doesn't really matter who you get. Those look like early exits, but you want to get one of the top 2 seeds, and Milwaukee has basically locked that up, the number 1 seed. So I look at Toronto, and they're in a good spot right now, in the 2 seed, and I don't know about this team. I haven't known all season, but they continue to impress. Kyle Lowry continues to play well. Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam continue to play well. I wonder, they're saying Marc Gasol should be back in a few weeks. He's another great defensive player. They've got contributions from all type of guys off the bench, and Terrence Davis, Chris Boucher. So Toronto, who knows what's going to happen, but defending champs, and we can't really say much until they lose that title. At number 3, I have Clippers. Kawhi's old team. We just talked about Toronto. Clippers, watched them earlier, all healthy now. Completely different team when they're healthy. You have Patrick Beverley, you have Paul George, you have Kawhi Leonard, you have the guys playing the real roles that they're going to play in the playoffs, coming off the bench, and Marcus Morris, you have Montrezl Harrell, you have Lou Williams. This is a very dangerous team. Reggie Jackson also played well today. It's a very dangerous team because any of those players that I named can have a big night. Any of those players that I just named can also play defense. Landry Shamet was hitting big shots today also. It's a team that's just got so many contributors. And that's my fear for, some of the other teams in the West and some of the other teams in the league. This team can turn it up another level. I don't think we've seen yet a fully healthy Clippers team, with 10 or so games under the belt before the playoffs, playing together. The sky is the limit for this team, and I think the Clippers are a team that we need to look at, and I've said all year, even when they weren't playing that well, this should be the title favorites. Just roster-wise, you're looking at Paul George and Kawhi, and those are 2 of the best wing defenders in the league. And then, Patrick Beverley, one of the best on-ball defenders as well. Very deep team in the Clippers. And, now that they're healthy, I look for them, only 5 games back of the Lakers in the West. I look for them to make a run and try to get that 1 seed and to start playing much better than they played this season. Load management Clippers, as people will call them. At 2, I have Lakers, 45 and 13. They've been losing a few games here. Got blown out by Memphis, actually. Very interesting. And LeBron, actually, he snuck in a game of rest last week, a little groin. And that lost to Memphis, as I said. But that's not going to, change. I'm starting to watch the game right now, just coming on live with Lakers and New Orleans. And Lakers, they are a team that I fear for them if they have to match up with the Clippers. I don't think on paper they match up well because it's like LeBron and AD would have to do so much in that series. And I don't know if LeBron can do that against a younger Kawhi, a hungry Kawhi. Finals MVP last year, Kawhi, and I keep taking glances of the game. Right now, 0-0 just started. But yeah, Lakers, great team. It would be great if they won the championship too. With everything that's happened to Lakers fans this year, Kobe, it would just be great for the Lakers community for them to win a championship. But we'll see what happens with the Lakers. And at 1, we have Milwaukee, 52-8. One of the fastest teams in NBA history to clinch playoff berth. East Coast, they are going to definitely beat whoever the AC is. I can tell you that without a fact. And Giannis is probably going to be MVP again unless we see an outbreak from LeBron or AD or James Harden to end the season. But we look at Milwaukee and they just blow out teams. I've been saying continuously all season, 12 points per game. Point differential. This could arguably be one of the greatest regular season teams we've ever seen when it's all said and done. Not by record, but by the way they've played and beat teams. I just think if Giannis wants to take it to that next level, he's got to do it in the playoffs. He's got to do these numbers in the playoffs. This 30 and 14 in the playoffs has to continue, or it's got to go up. I think Shaq said it best one time on TNT. He said, if I average whatever I average in the playoffs, it's got to whatever I average in the regular season, it's got to skyrocket in the playoffs. So I can prove that I'm the best. So we can win a championship. So I need to see that from Giannis. Also, Chris Middleton, great player, fantastic player, having a great season as well. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning into my podcast, trying to turn it up a level now, with the broken hand in the background, also trying to hide it, and just really happy with where this is going, and really just enjoy talking about basketball. Thank you.